Carried. Remember we were looking at something like, I think we were looking at, no, not that one. We were looking at this one. Well, maybe I didn't open it. That first example. Huh. At the end of the lecture on Monday, I said to you that Chapter 12 isn't just about using three different simulation Excel formulas. This is a big part of it, but it's also being able to write equation in cells that will do a task. Maybe it's not simulating. And this is a perfect example. Like knowing what would be entered there to calculate the net profit when this is all you can see is right here. And you kind of got to put logic together and think about accounting and say, okay, profit is always revenue minus cost. Then you put that together by looking up here. How is revenue being calculated? How are costs being calculated? And then, if this is a question on the final exam, for example, there would probably be a picture like this, and then the question would probably say, and look here, oh, I forgot this new laptop. I got to shrink it, and then I got to make it big. I'm about to tell you the cell location of that net profit. It'll probably say, tell me what Excel entry is in, what is that? That is, can you see it? Right here. Yeah. G17. And because you got to analyze this whole thing before you can tell me what's in there, this is probably 2 points. 2-point question, because it's probably a real simple equation, but it takes some time to figure it out. So what I would do is I start looking at this and I go, okay, what's happening? If that's net profit, that means there's either gross profit or revenue somewhere being calculated, and there's cost being calculated, and I need to subtract something from something. And so you look here and you go, okay, here's the first trial. Demand's being calculated. It looks like it's normal. There's probably what kind of Excel entry right here, if it's using this area to simulate demand. What would be the entry? How about just tell me which word of these three? Not all at once. Normal. So somewhere in that cell, or it probably equals N-O-R-M-I-N-B, parenthesis, don't jump it down here, R-A-N-D, parenthesis, comma. Cell location where the mean is, comma, cell location where the standard deviation is. I can tell that by just looking right here, and then I'm looking for demand up here, and I can see that demand has a mean and a standard deviation, and that gives it away right there. This isn't even a story. You're just looking at a spreadsheet with no story to back it, and you've got to analyze it just by what you see. And that's what I do. Demand. Okay, it looks like that's being randomly done. There it is. Oh, it's a mean and standard deviation, so that would be an N-O-R-M-I-N-B. Sales. Here we go. 100 would be probably how many we sold, maybe. And so there's something up here determining sales, which would be how many the demand is, but it's a different number. So I'd have to look to figure out why are sales only 100 when 116. Now I can kind of tell already, but I don't know if you could grasp this, if you grasp it right away like I can tell. Only because I've seen replenishment levels before. This tells me this is probably all they have in stock maybe. And if we have more than 100 customers wanting this, whatever it is, this is the most maybe we could sell. For me to confirm this, I'd have to look at more of the spreadsheet. If there's a number below 100, to see what this is, to kind of back my theory that maybe it can only go as high as 100 as far as sales. I'm just going to scroll down real quick. Whoa. Got to find one. Okay, here's a 99. So that kind of does back the theory right there. And look at how these are all 100. So that replenishment level is probably involved there, or just it's probably an if statement. If this is over 100, put 100. If this is less than 100, put whatever's there, or something like that. Gross profit. And I look up here, and there's got to be a selling price up here somewhere. Wow, it's gross profit per unit instead of selling price. So this is probably the number of units we're selling times that $50. Got us to the 5,000. I look at holding cost, 0. That's odd. It says holding cost, $15 per unit. There's something more to that story. We're skipping that stuff. What should that be if logic stands true? Yeah, $15 times 100 is $1,500. Shortage cost, let's see if that makes sense. Shortage, $30. See, that doesn't make sense either. $30 times 100 would be 3,000. Oh, wait, shortage. Oh, just these 16. The people we had to say, sorry, we only have 100, we ran out, we have these on back order, and there's a cost involved. That's what's going on here. 16 times 30, 480, which would be subtracted from our gross profit. Our holding cost would be subtracted if we had one. There's probably no holding cost. I'm starting to think now, if we sell all of them, there's none left over to hold over. That's probably what's going on. And if my theory's right, if I go down to where that 99 is, there would be a holding cost there. 1 times 15. Let's check and see if that's true. $8. Here's that whole theory up. All right? I do not know why that's $8. But notice we have no shortage cost because everybody who ordered one got it. Because it was less than 100. Someone take a guess. Why do you think that $8 is? That's not even, is that half? That's not even half the holding cost. Doesn't make sense, does it? You'd have to look. Now, all this talk is so that you can tell me what is entered there. All that talk I just went through is what you would logically be thinking as you're looking at this if the question said, give me the Excel entry in G17. And hopefully you said, well, D17 minus, give me something, F or even E, right? If we had a holding cost, that had to be subtracted, right? So E17 minus F17, anything else? You can ask a question, go ahead.
Well, I'd say that for number the 5th month, it's a $1 shortage cost.
Yeah. Oh, here?
Yeah.
That's a good question. We're going to click on those cells, but I'm not sure. What I'm guessing, though, this is what I want you guys to focus on. Any of these spreadsheets, when you're looking through the back of the problems back there, try to find some spreadsheets and say, how is that net profit being calculated? Because in your homework that you have to put together a spreadsheet. And the whole objective is to calculate the net profit, and that's what I'm trying to prepare you for, is to get this homework assignment done. This is probably, I actually took out a big part of it after I already assigned it to the other class, slightly different, because they had extreme difficulty with it, which scares the heck out of me. So I made it much smaller, much easier, and now I'm assigning it to you. But in trade, I had to keep giving them hints that I'm not going to give you because yours is so much easier, so much smaller. Some of you who have experience in Excel of any kind are going to find this homework very easy. But some of you who have troubles with Excel, you're finally being forced to teach yourself Excel to a point because you have to. This is the time. You have 2 major projects in these other core classes coming up before you graduate that you have to know Excel. So this is the moment. And sure enough, right there, let's see what it is. D17 minus E17 minus F17. And you saw the logic I kind of went through to come up with that analysis to get that formula. Now let's look at why this holding cost is only $8 and why that shortage cost. If B is less than or equal to 100 at C7, then if that's true, if it is less, go ahead and put whatever this is times, minus. Where am I?
C4 is 15.
C4 is $15 times C7, which is 100, minus B20, which is the 99, which would be 1. 1 times 15 is $15, but the number 8 is coming in. Am I missing something? That is weird, isn't it? 100 minus 99 is 1 times C4, which is 15. It doesn't make sense. Let's look at the other one. This one, why is this only $1 when the shortage is 30? We're going if B21 happens to be less than or equal to C7, which it is, then if that's true, put a 0 in that cell. And it is true. Well, that's so weird. So as you can see, it's not working right. But really should be 0, and this one should be 15. Let's look at this. You ready? We're going to do this. And I got to get set up with it. Oh, I got it all set. Now it's all in. All right. Let's pretend this is a question on your final. Number 21. South Central Airlines operates a commuter flight between Atlanta and Charlotte. I gotta make that bigger. If I can't see it, can you guys see it? No. No, that's too good. Go in between here. Central Airlines commuter flight between Atlanta and Charlotte. The plane holds 30 passengers. Here's the key information. There's only 30 seats on the plane. Now this is going to prepare you for homework in the sense that you're going to take this story and turn it into a simulation. This doesn't have to be a net profit one, but this is a good one. It holds 30 passengers. The airline makes $100 profit for each passenger. So how much do they make in profit if 30 seats are filled when the flight takes off? $3,000. But it says that they've only been averaging 28 seats because they get people canceling. And so sometimes there's 27, sometimes there's 29. Their average has been 28 because of people not showing up for the flight. So their average profit has been $2,800, $100. They want to test something. You gotta remember this is old, and this really happens. Airlines do this all the time. But they want to test a theory with a 30-seat plane. What if we booked 32 passengers? What would happen? But there's only 30 seats, so they're purposely overbooking. And this is very common in the airline. I'm sure there's got to be a few of you in here have been on a plane where you're waiting for it to taxi away, and someone comes on the plane and says, hey, would anybody leave this plane and catch the next flight for $100? We're offering $100. Anybody? You've seen this, so you know. And I used to have to fly all the time from one company to another every single week. So I hear this all the time, and I learned to hold out. Because nobody really wants to get off the plane. And one time, I was in, I want to say Boston, but maybe Chicago. And it was snowing really bad, but the flight was going to go, but somebody needed to get on that flight. And they got on and offered maybe $100 and nobody got off, maybe $500, no one got off. They finally got to the point where they kept making offers because they had this person had to have this flight, they overbooked it, it's their fault. This is why there's an overbooking cost, which they know they'll incur if everybody, all 32 people show up. The 2 people that aren't going to get on the flight, they're going to get a cost involved. They know that. And so I've held out, and I got a round-trip ticket that had 12 months to use anywhere in the continental U.S., plus a hotel room to sleep in because it was later, plus dinner and breakfast. So that's what I'm telling you. If you get the job, if you have a job where you have to fly all the time, like I did for about a year and a half, you'll learn to hold out for the big money. Don't jump right off the flight. Especially if you got a meeting. I had so many meetings. There was times where I had to go to the bathroom in the back of the airplane and do all my shaving and brushing my teeth and all that stuff because, you know, I'm going straight from the plane to a meeting without being able to go to my hotel first. It was like such a chaotic life working this job, going from company to company to company. But here's the thing. They do this all the time. Airlines realize if they overbook because people cancel their flight or don't show up, they'll raise the average of the seats that will be taken. So they're asking you or us to simulate the possibility of what would take place if we went ahead and said, we're taking 32 reservations. They tested it a little bit. And in testing it, they said, we found that if we take 32 reservations, there's only 5% of the time that all 32 show up. So they're saying it's kind of worth the risk, but there's a cost involved if more show up than we have seats. 31 showing up, 15%. So overall, there's about 1/5, 20% chance of this process of overbooking burning us. And that may be worth the risk. We'll see. We're gonna simulate taking the cost into consideration. 30 passengers, 50%, 29, 25, and there's even a 5% chance with that 4 passengers on the same flight don't show up when you're taking 32 reservations. So they're asking you to simulate it. It's still $100, however many passengers get on the flight. And if a passenger doesn't get on the flight, there's a $150 cost for what's involved with the goodwill, getting them on another flight, and we may have even offered them cash, you know, or a check or something. So they think the average, sometimes it will cost more than 150, sometimes less. They think the average is 150. And we want to simulate that. Now, right here, you should jump all over this and tell me what kind of simulation are you doing here. Don't jump all over it while the camera's rolling. But now, we have three choices: uniform, normal, or known. No. What is the Excel entry you'll use, the command, to work with this known estimated probability? VLOOKUP. That's it. Is that what you said? Make sure. VLOOKUP. So I'm going to write that right here. Now, I learned something a couple days ago, because the new Excel is not allowing students, and when you put a map together, to put the outcomes, 28, 29, however many passages show up on the left. Remember I said you could have the outcomes on the left and then the random numbers you assigned in the middle to the right, instead of having the outcomes on the right? And in your VLOOKUP formula, you'd put a 1 on the end instead of a 3. It won't work. I don't know what changed in Excel over the years, but it won't work anymore. I tried to help some students, and we couldn't get it to work no matter what. So make sure and do this mapping where your assigned numbers are on the left and the middle, and on the right would be your outcomes. So real quick, look at the map up here. Here's the example. We're going to assign from 0 to the number 5, if there were no decimals here, 28, because 5% chance we're assigning 5 numbers. From 5 to 30, that's 25 numbers, 25% chance of 29. From 30 to 80, that's 50 numbers, because there's a 50% chance, and so on and so on. So there's our mapping, which you should be very familiar with, and there's probably next to, no doubt, that you probably have mapping in your future, not just the homework, but possibly the homework and the final. So that's how important this is. And that when we simulate the amount of passengers that show up, is that demand or show up? The amount of passengers that show up, which would be demand, we're going to use VLOOKUP. And is there anything else in the story we need to know? No, that's it. All we want to do is say, how many showed up, how many are getting on the plane, what will be the gross profit, because we make $100, however many get on the plane, how many got bumped off the plane, because more showed up than we have seats, how much will be the cost involved for those who got bumped, and then the last cell is going to be net profit. Right, so let's start with demand. VLOOKUP. It's going to be from the left corner where the 0 is, all the way to the bottom right corner where that 32 is. So I've got, you see it? Okay, I've got, what is that? B8 all the way to D12. The VLOOKUP, you can see it, equals VLOOKUP, parenthesis, RAND, parenthesis, no spaces, comma, $B, $8, right there at the top left-hand corner, colon, $D, $12, comma, 3, the information you want to bring back is in the third column. Works perfect. I don't know why it doesn't work anymore if you switch this over. But so put it in the third column if you have this on your homework. So here, this is how many get on the plane. I want you to think about that. If 28 passengers show up, and there's only a 5% chance, how many are getting on the plane? 28. If 31 passengers show up, how many are getting on the plane? Yeah, exactly. Whatever you're doing to tell me that a different amount's getting on the plane that showed up is the logic you've got to put right here to do the same thing. Where is this cell going to look to determine whether how many are going to be on that plane? Where is it going to look to make this determination? Where did you look? If I said to you, 32 showed up, where would that show up? Where would you look to see that 32 showed up? That's right. The previous cell. Here's how many showed up. Here's where you look. So whatever you're writing here is got to say, hey, look at the previous cell. Determine if it's less than equal, greater than equal, or equal to something. You decide. And there's all kinds of ways of doing this. And then comma, if it is, I want you to do this. Comma, if it's not, I want you to do this. Now, I'm about to show you, but there's all kinds of different ways you can do this. The statement here is going to be an if statement. Equals, if, parenthesis. Here is where you're telling Excel to look at that previous cell and compare it to some number or some cell or something. We actually want to know how many showed up, and the key for our decision is whether more than 30 showed up or 30 or less showed up. So you could write this as less than 30, greater than 30, equal to 30, equal or greater than 30. There's all kinds of different ways. I'm going to say the previous cell, which in this case is B, can you see it, 16?
C16.
And we're in C right now. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. We're in D. So this is for D. C, 16. Is it great? Okay. All right. Greater than 30. There's the test. Whatever I put after this comma, I'm telling Excel, if the number of people, passengers showing up is greater than 30, I want you to put this there. What is it we want to be put there if more than 30? That's right. Put the number 30 there. If it's not more than 30, what do we want to be put there? That's right. Whatever the cell location of how many did show up that are 30 or less, which is C16. So we're looking at the previous cell. Notice I didn't put dollar signs on this. When I copy and paste this, I want the next one to be looking at C17, the next one to look at C18, and C19. I want that to change. If it's greater than 30, if it is, just put 30 there, because that's all that's getting on the plane. If it's not greater than 30, then it must be 30 or 29 or 28. Put whatever the amount showed up there. There's an example of how to do an if statement for a spreadsheet like this. Now, I posted, I'm jumping just because I can see a lot of looks in your face about this if statement. I want to tell you, go make sure and get this off of Blackboard before the final exam, because I put, let's see, this one says, if D10 greater than 10, then put the number, I'm sorry, if D10 is less than 10, put the number 10 there. If it's not, put D10 there. So that's what it did. This other one, another example. If D11 is greater or less than 10, which it's not, but if it were, put 10 there. If it's not, put D11. Are these all the same thing? They're all saying less than 10. Look at this one was, so we'll put the number 10 there. So there's examples on how to use it, and then make sure you download this help spreadsheet that I put on Excel to prepare you for the final. This one has all of them, including an example of if. Where this one says, if B8, I gotta guess where it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably right in here. If B8 is less than 50, these are both less than 50, this is going to be true. Count if, which we gotta refresh out what count if is, I've got examples there. So if it's true, if this number is less than 50, which it is, count if says count if this is true. So it says count if B8 through B25, all the cells that have, look at the quotations, A, B in them. How many cells have the letters A, B in them? 1. And if it's false, if that's not great, if that's not less than B5, then just put the word no there. Sure enough, it was true. 33 is less than 50. So it looked through all of here and looked for AB. It saw this, so it said there's one AB there. Now I want to show you what will happen if this number were greater than 50. 51. What should show up here if this is working right? The word no. Sure enough. So here's an example of how to use count if. So you can see it again. Count if B8 through B25, comma, you're telling now Excel what to look for to count any cells that have 34 in them. So it's going through here and going 34. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. It should come back to the number 4. That's how you use count if. Now the reason this is important is on your homework, the very last thing you're putting on your spreadsheet is the probability that the net profit is going to be a loss. So you're going to use a count if, and you're going to say, hey, the column I'm using to determine if there's a profit or loss in this thing you're putting together, count all of them that are less than 0. So that's where a count if will come in play. It will count all of them. And the instructions say that when you write that top line, copy and paste it down for 99 other lines below, or 499, I can't remember. All the words in the top one. And then you're going to want to count all of the column that has the profit, how many of them are a loss. And then you divide that by how many simulations you're doing, how many trials, and that will give you the percent probability of losing money. If we had 100 trials, and it counted all of them that had below 0 profit, and it came up with 10, it would take 10 divided by 100, because you did 100, and it would say there's a 10% chance of a loss. And that's how that works. But you never want to do just 100 if you're trying to find out if you have a probability of loss or gain. You want to do at least 500. It will narrow it down more, and you'll have a really good feel on what the probability is then of a loss, because it simulates every possibility of your costs and your revenue and whatever else however else you set it up. Now, back to our airline. You ready? If I can find it. Right here, let's get back. This is telling us how many's on a flight. In this case, it says, this one's different. There's so many different ways of doing this, but it does the same thing. If C16 is less than 31, now think about what's less than 31. Could be 30, 29, 28. If that's true, then put whatever C16 is there. If it's false, put 30. Because if it's false, then it must be more, then it must be equal or greater than 31. So it'd be 31 or 32, that means put a 30 there. In this case, sure enough, it was equal to or greater than, or it wasn't, I'm sorry, it was not less than 31. So we'll wait to the no, which says put a 30 there. 29 is less than 31, so it's a yes, so we put whatever C16 is. C17, that would change. Go down here, C17, so the 29's there. Like I said, there's all kinds of different ways you can write this. As long as it's doing what it's supposed to do correctly, you got it right. However you decide to write it. Profit. It's however many got on the flight times cell F7. Our profit for every passenger got on the flight. 30 times 100, 29 times 100, 30 times 100, 29, and so on. Overbooking. How do we determine that? What do you think it's looking at to say, this is how many got bumped, and we had to offer something to get them off the flight?
Greater or less than 30?
Not an if-then statement. Not an if-then statement. And where would it be looking? Because actually that might work, but it would have to go back and look at probably this cell to determine if there's an overbooking. You can avoid an if statement and still do this. So, but if you write an if statement and it works, I'll take it. But this is much easier than that. That's it. However many showed up minus however many got on the flight will either be 0. If a 28 showed up, it'll be 0, 29, 30. But if 31 show up, this subtracts out to 1. If 32 show up, this subtracts out to 2. So all you got to put, it's either going to be a 0, 1, or 2, is put C16 minus D16 in that cell. I just want to check and make sure this is what we're doing here. C16 minus D16. Now, our overbooking cost is right up there in G7. So this cell is saying, hey, however many passengers got overbooked, multiply it times G7, there's 150, let's get to the end. Net profit, think about it, gross profit minus overbooking cost gives us the net profit. Now, the problem says, will the average profit be better or worse than what we're currently averaging, which is $2,800 a flight? So here's all the profits. So right here, it's finding equals average, H16 all the way to the bottom. And it's finding that average. And I'm going to hit, every time you hit any enter, you change anything on here, all these numbers change. That's how simulations work. They're recalculating, recalculating. So I want to run this like 10 times and see and kind of get a visual as to, you know, is this going to be more or less than 2,800 most of the time? That's how you would answer this question. Would this be something worth doing if our average is high enough, because, you know, there's a cost involved. So here I go. You ready? Watch the mean profit. Would you say it's consistently, hang on a minute, more or less than the 2,800 that they're averaging now? Would you recommend changing the policy to take 32 reservations instead of 30 for this? Yeah. Even though you've got some, you know, some passengers that are getting upset with you once in a while. We took that into consideration though, right? If we really think there's more cost involved than the 150, we just got to change that number, run it again. It's that easy. That's the advantage of using cell locations. That's it. There's a simulation. Now let's talk about yours. Your homework says to do a simulation for a new proposed manufactured product using the following details. Create a simulation, determine if the company should be going forward with the manufacturing of this proposed new product. Base your recommendation on the simulation resulting probability that the company will lose money on this possible venture. Make each trial to include 1 year of profit loss simulated. So one trial is the whole year, whether they made money or lost money. Get that all worked out, then copy and paste it. How many am I asking for? We'll get to it. It's either 100 or 500, I can't remember. Here's the beginning. Allow Excel to randomly select your market size. The estimated market size is, here's the key word, uniformly distributed between 92,000 and 145,000 units. There's the beginning. You think about what have we talked about uniform yet? We got VLOOKUP here, we got NORM. Help me out here. I like the shortcut one that some students on some Excel spreadsheets, if you don't have it formatted right, this doesn't work. RANDBETWEEN parenthesis, and then this would be the cell location of the smallest number, comma, cell location of the largest number. I love this one, but if it's not working, go to the old standby, which is the cell location for the smallest number plus RAND parenthesis times. You got to use the star. You just can't put it next to parenthesis. The cell location for the largest number minus the cell location for the smallest number. That won't work with uniform distribution, just data, if the RAND between doesn't work. It's randomly picking something between two numbers. In this case, the two numbers are going to be 92,000 and 145,000. There's your market size. Next, you need to know what the company's market share is of that market size. So if the market size comes up at 100,000 and our market share comes up at 10%, I'm not even looking, I don't know if 10% is an option. It's not, but let's say 10%. Then the next cell should be calculating that the amount of units that you're going to sell is 10% of the 100,000, which is 10,000. That's where this is headed. Go ahead. Oh, you're just holding that up?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there's the first one. Next it says, the selling price will be $219. There's no randomness involved. It's just however many our company's market share is of this market. We need to multiply times 219 to get revenue. Next, the cost of materials and parts is estimated to be uniformly distributed between $90 and $99 per unit. There's an expense, a cost, right there. You got to simulate this. Uniform. You already know what to use. Allow Excel to randomly select the company's market share. Market share is uniformly distributed between 6.5 and 8.5%. Think about that cell. We know what formula we're using. But that gives us our market share percentage. You've got to turn that into how many units in the next cell or the same cell. It's up to you. How many units we'll be selling is our market share percentage times that random market size. Again, if the market size is 100,000, our market share percent is 10%. The next cell should come up with 100 or 10,000 units, 10% of 100,000. That's the amount of units we're basing our revenue on and our variable costs. Get it? On the market share number. Not percentage, the number. Labor cost has been assigned the following probabilities and needs to be randomly selected. $100 per unit of labor has about a 22% chance. $101 per unit of labor, 18%, 102, 60, 103, 104. These percentages add up to 100%. What of the three are you doing in this one? No. Which would be, what would be the command? I've heard of it. Lookup. There you go. Do you have to set up a map?
Yeah.
Think about that map, and I just gave you some advice. Don't put the outcomes in the left, put it to the right. The outcomes are the 100, the 101, 102, 103, 104. They need to be in that last right-hand column on your map. It's the first time I ever had to say that. In the past, you could have it on the left or the right, and then put the last digit of the one, but it's not working. All right, what else do we have here? We got labor. The company expects to have an annual overhead cost annually of $150,000. So think about this. You're generating revenue based on your market share of the market size. That's how many times the price you're selling it at. You've got your variable cost of labor, which is going to be somewhere around 100, 101, all the way to 104, based on your market share. You got where's your cost of materials? Materials, $90 to $99 per unit. So that's also based on market share numbers, because that's how many you're making. And then you have this fixed cost. So at the end, when you're trying to figure out net profit, this gets subtracted. This is a one-time each year, 150. We're spending that no matter how many we make, no matter how many we sell. It's our fixed overhead for that darn warehouse we bought. All right? Have your simulation at least 100 trials, so you do the first line, copy it, at least 99 more rows below it. And include, at the top somewhere, calculating your probability of loss. I already gave you instructions. This is being videotaped. Now I'll make sure and edit that out. Just kidding. All right? So this is that COUNTIA. Calculate the year's total profit and loss. Each year at the end, you're going to have the profit and loss for each year on your simulation. You're going to use that to calculate the probability of a loss. If the company goes into this, make a recommendation right at the top of your simulation, right underneath where you're calculating the probability of loss. Type a sentence out that either says, yes, the company should go forward, or the company shouldn't go forward, based on that probability of a loss that you're going to calculate based on the simulation. Now remember, one person may get a probability of loss that's different than yours. Matter of fact, there's going to be a lot of different probability of losses because it changes every time you open this. Every time you change a cell, that probability of loss changes. So when you go to run it, just like I did with the airline, run it like 10 times and watch that probability. Just like we're staring at that mean profit to try to figure out if it's higher or lower than 2,800, you're going to do the same thing with that probability of a loss. Just hit return, put a space and hit return 10 times and watch what happens to that probability of loss. And then say, is that too much? Well, we can handle that and write your recommendation whether the company should go forward or not. You know, look at it like this. Okay, we're about to spend $2 million. And that probability of loss, if it's 60% chance of a loss, would you recommend we spend the $2 million? No. That's what you got to look at. That's, you know, I gave you an outrageous percentage to make it obvious. That's why that's what you'll stare at when you run this 10 times. Okay? Everybody get the homework? If you get the homework, attack it tonight. Because I can't tell you how many students have already told me from the class, I had it when I left that lecture, they had it on Thursday. I had it, and then I got home. I waited till Sunday to get it started, and it looked like a foreign language. I couldn't do this assignment if you paid me. That's how you. So if you think this is going to be challenging for you, attack it while this is fresh in your mind tonight. If you can, just get it started. And let me encourage you, especially this Sunday, I'm setting aside time hoping that you'll email me with questions so I can help you get through this assignment. This assignment, this homework assignment, I'm going to guess your biggest assignment of the year. It's definitely your most important. It's preparing you for these things you have coming up that I want to make sure you're ready for. And then it's such a big assignment, it's going to count for both Chapter 12's homework and in class. So this isn't just a normal homework. It's in class and homework. Both grades are being inserted for those two scores. All right? That's how important it is. Due on Monday. Follow the instructions. Everybody needs to send me, as soon as possible, a blank spreadsheet, blank. I'm gonna look at who authored it, who modified it, and that's the same spreadsheet you must use to do your simulation. Now, here's the deal. You can work together, but this will stop you from just copying and pasting someone else's spreadsheet or just changing the name on it and handing in someone else's spreadsheet. If you help each other, you at least have to type in the formulas, because you'll change then who modified, or you're gonna have to type your own spreadsheet. So you send me a blank one, and even if you completely hate this assignment and you're waiting for me to post the answer on Monday night next week, that's fine, but you can't use the spreadsheet I posted. You're gonna have to open it up, look at the formulas, and still type them into your spreadsheet. Or it will change everything on who authored it and who modified it, okay? So send me a blank spreadsheet tonight, or right now, or however you want. If you're doing it on a lab computer, just save the spreadsheet on a pen drive, and you can work on it from any computer. It will say your name being authored and modified, because it doesn't matter what computer you're on. Once you start that spreadsheet, as long as you have it to finish, that will be the same one you sent me. I just want people, I want to force you to do this one assignment, at least to type things in yourself, because I want you to be ready for what's coming. Right? I can't believe, this semester, there's been, at first there was only like 9, but now there's been like over 12 past students who have contacted me about the spreadsheet that they have due. They've been contacting me for the last 4 weeks, because it's due, I guess, tomorrow, in 2 of these classes, or 1 of these, 2 sections of this one class. Everybody is just panicking, because they're not prepared for the simulation you have coming. The simulation you have coming is like 10 times this. 10 times. They're going so wide, they're at, you know how it goes AA, AB? They're at like UT. Okay, because you're simulating 15 years out with them the net profit at the end. 15 years. And you have to use an if statement that looks at how many years the random useful life is, and your simulation can only go out that many years, and it has to stop. So if it comes up with 12, your simulation can only go 12 years. 13, 14, 15 better be blank. If it says 7, your simulation can only go out 7 years. So there's a lot of work in it. And some people are still working on it today, because I'm still getting emails, can you look at this again? They make changes. Can you look at this again? And I'm okay with that. But I want you to be more prepared than they are. So this is the first time I've done this assignment, and it is definitely the most important one to prepare you for the classes. For life, everything you learn in this class has been important for life, for your working career. Because I can almost linear programming, inventory management, project scheduling, waiting line theory. I've used all of them. They're all different parts of a job. They're all useful. No matter if you're in marketing or finance, they all can become useful if you embrace them and feel comfortable enough with them. And when you, 10 years from now, when you guys get to the table, you're going to forget all this. But all of a sudden, this stuff's coming up at meetings. And you got to know what's being talked about when they come up at meetings. So even though it's going to be 10 years from now before you get to the table, when you get there, you got to be ready. And that's what this class was all about, trying to get you ready for that. Are we okay? We're good. We got a little bit of time left, so I'm going to go over a couple more things just to make sure you're ready for this. Is there any questions about this assignment? Does everybody know what's expected? Everybody knows it's going to be hard, but you have help. All you got to do is email and ask and say, hey, I'm working on this. Can you look at it? I'm stuck on the 3rd cell. What about this setup? Should I have started with market size? Should I have then went to market share? Whatever you want, I will help you. If you haven't started before Sunday, at least start on Sunday, because I'm setting aside time purposely to help you. The last class took advantage of it pretty good, but the emails came in, it was due yesterday. Don't wait till, when's this due, Monday? Don't do what they did. There was a whole bunch of students that waited until Tuesday, and I couldn't keep up with them. If I show you my sent box, you'll see where I was trying to reply as fast as I could, and it was 9:35, 9:40, 10:02, 10:12, 10:15, 10:20, and it went all the way till I had to leave the house. I couldn't keep going. I mean, I barely was able to finish showering. Don't leave it to the last day. All right, don't do it, because you won't get as much help as you'll get if you start early. I've set aside time, and I got emails coming in Sunday about every half hour. Hey, how about this? How about this? And you can tell people who are working on it. But what was weird is, when I replied and gave some help, I was expecting to hear back, okay, I did what you said, now how about this? But I wasn't getting the return. Like, they'd ask for one help. Keep asking for help. Know that I'm probably going to reply in an hour or less. And that you could get additional help by saying, okay, keep working on it. All right? All right. I try to encourage you as much as I can. Here's another example. Oh, wait. I think, did we do this one with the plumber and going to Austin? We did that one. I wondered if we did. Let's do this one right here. This one we just talked about briefly. Now we talked about more than briefly anyways. All right, so let's go with, where do we go? This one. Whoop. Whoops. All right. All right. Now, this one, a lot of students find difficult, and I want to say one thing to kind of give you some relief here. This is very interesting, and I want you to learn it, but I will not do a time simulation on the final. This is a time simulation. They're very useful. When I wanted to do a time study when I was working for that consulting firm, I would grab their old security videos and look at the average amount of time a teller takes to wait on a customer or whatever the situation is. So this is kind of similar to that. This process here, this airport says, hey, we have international flights come in, and we have to check their passport and their carry-on luggage because they're international flights. So they said, we want to see what happens if we split the checking their passports, then checking the luggage. And we want to see what the average amount of time it would take to go through a flight, small international flight with maybe 10 passengers. Because they already know how long it takes to go, on average, go through 10 passengers the way they have it set up now. But they want you to simulate breaking the process up into 2 people and see exactly how much time it would be saved and whether, the cost is worth it, because we'd have 2 people doing it instead of 1. And if there's a cost involved in lowering the complaints from international flights because they have to wait so long, it will be worth it. So I described all that to you in my own words. Let's get started. The story says that check-in with the passports is taking around 20 to 80 seconds, and it seems to be about a 20% chance it goes fast, about a 10% chance it goes slow, and so on. They add up to 100%. Help me out. Uniform, normal, known estimated probability. Say it again. Uniform. Not uniform, because this would say known probabilities, which we use what command? Speed lookup. You got it. Great. Next. We're going to then have them go to the baggage inspector. We have a little bit of studying we've done. We've noticed the baggage inspection takes around, sometimes they don't have a carry-on at all, 25% of the time. And then it could take 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, about 60% of the time, 10%, 5%. Uniform, normal, known estimated probabilities. What command would you use? All right, you're getting it. This is where you need to be, because the help will be all around you. It's about recognizing what it is you need to get done, and then start looking for the help. 2 people asked me how to prepare for this final, by the way. 3 people. And I said to each of them, instead of studying the problems as much as you might, get it so organized that you can find help as fast as possible. Because you're going to have, we've covered like 12 chapters, 10 to 12 chapters. So you're going to have so many PowerPoints and answers to homework, and you can't have previous quizzes. Don't have those out. Not that it'll help you anyway, but you're going to have all this stuff out that I have watched students literally watch them when they get to a question that they're looking, and the amount of time they spend looking, they get to a panic mode. It's about a 2-hour final, and when you get to the last 15 minutes, you spend so much time looking for the help that you've got all these problems left with 15 minutes that now you guys start guessing on, because I'm frantically encouraging you to leave nothing blank, so I can give as much partial credit as can. And you could have gotten a lot more points having the time to put thought into those problems. Don't lose time by having to look forever. Spend some time between the last class on Monday and Wednesday's final, getting so organized that if you were read a random problem, it would take you seconds to find all the information related to that chapter. Here's the PowerPoint. Here's all the answers to the homework in classes that we did, and the help answers that were posted. Here's the book. I have tabs in my book where I can go right to chapter whatever, stuff like that. Whatever you guys do to so organized and save time will automatically help you do better, because at the end then you'll go, okay, I got enough time to think about these instead of rushing and just start guessing. So this time simulation. So also, we have another one that's going to be VLOOKUP, like you said. So that's 2 now that we got to use VLOOKUP. Now, we decided to go ahead and assign numbers to the visa when they're going up to the first one. 20 seconds for 20% time, so we'll go from 0 to 20. If this is Excel, that's 0.0 to 0.20. 40 seconds, we'll start at 20 where we left off. 40 numbers takes us to 60. This would be 0.20, 0.60. Next one is 30%, so we'll start at 60, add 30 numbers, takes us to 90, 0.6, 0.9. And then the last one, we go from 90 to 100, which would be 0.9, 1.0. Right? We can all map. Just making sure we can all map. Because if I have a mapping on the quiz, it'll probably be a 1-point question because I think I'm giving you a point. So I just want to look at everybody when I say we can all map.
This is tough.
You think it's tough?
I think there should be like 5 points.
Oh, okay. I thought you were serious. Here we go. Baggage. Baggage. We were told this is how much time it could take. Here's our probabilities. We map it just like we would map anything. All right? There's our random numbers. If this were a map on Excel, by the way, 0.0 be in this cell, 0.25 here, what would be right here? Let's try this next one. 0.25 here, 0.85 in this row, or this column, what would be here? What would be the outcome? 1 minute or 60 seconds or whatever you decide to do this in, minutes, seconds, okay? Here's 80.85, here's 0.95, what would be here? 2 or 120, or you do it in a minute, a second, or minutes, 2, right? Outcomes on the right when you draw your maps off. Here's our simulation. This is a time simulation. You're given the random numbers. Here's the random numbers for all the passengers going up to the passport. Here's the numbers for everybody going up to baggage. All right? 93, go up here. Where's our passport? 93, how long is it going to take for that first passenger to get through the passport? 80 seconds. We're starting the clock at 0. That first passenger goes through the passport. Our timer is now at 80 seconds. At 80 seconds, that person's headed over to baggage. But at 80 seconds, a second passenger is walking up to visa. You get this? Okay, what you're about to see now, I hope this makes more sense. This is where I start losing people. First passenger, the clock starts. We're doing a time analysis. The first passenger had a random number of 93. 80 seconds we saw, which is a minute 20 seconds. We're doing this in minutes, it looks like. So they're done at a minute and 20 seconds. They then head to the other station at a minute and 20 seconds, while the second passenger is walking up to the visa at a minute and 20 seconds. Now look here. Random number 13, we go look, 0. This person didn't have any baggage. So they're literally walking right by, and they're done with both stations at a minute 20. Second passenger, meanwhile, at the same time, random number 63, says it's going to take about a minute. The clock moves up a minute to 2:20. The second passenger walks over here at 2:20, and the third passenger is walking up to this station at 2:20. Everybody still with me? We're getting to a part that's going to get hard. What? It's not here yet. 2:20 is the second passenger going to the baggage. Random number 8, we look at, Excel says, oh, that's no time again. This is, all right, so they can walk right by 2:20. This passenger, random number 26, the visa inspection or passport is going to take 40 seconds. 2 minutes and 20 seconds plus 40 seconds takes us to 3 minutes. They're walking over here at 3 minutes. At the same time, the next passenger is walking up here at 3 minutes. Now, here we go. Is this the one? This isn't it yet. 3 minutes, random number 60 or 0.60. Look at the thing. It says this person is going to take a minute at the baggage. So the clock's going to 4 minutes. They're done. Now, this person is walking up here, random number 16, 20 seconds, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, think about this. They walk towards baggage, but this person is still there. So they got to wait. And so they can't walk up to baggage until that person ahead of them got finished. think about what had to be written in this cell to determine at what time of the running clock this person would start at the baggage. What is it you're looking at to determine what time this person would start at baggage? Where are you looking?
What time is the other one?
That's right, you're looking there. But where else do you have to look to determine? Right there. So something would have to be written here that looks here and says whichever's longer is going to be the start of this passenger going ahead and work with baggage. So let me make one up just off the top of my head here. It's going to say something like, if J7 is greater than or equal, just say greater than D8, then put J7. If it's not, then put D8. Get it? Well, what if they're equal? Wait, if it's not greater than or equal, then they're good. It doesn't matter. They put either one if they're equal, right? Which the less than would work. And that could be written so many different ways, but that is obviously got to be an if statement because there was a decision to be made whether one time's going to be put there or the other time. And whichever one was greater is the one that's got to go there. All right, and this just continues. So this person got done at 3:20 but had to wait here. This person gets to walk right up at 3:20 because they're going to the visa person, not the baggage. Random number says 40 seconds, so they're at 4 minutes. Look at how it's caught up to where this person could walk straight to the baggage because this person ended up getting a random number that they have no baggage and went right through. My question for you is, in these first 5 simulations, how many passengers had to wait before they could go on to baggage? 1. And what did you look at to determine how many? These 2 columns right here. Anytime these numbers were different, it meant someone had to wait. Now let's keep going real quick. The next 5 passengers. How many passengers out of this 5 passengers had to wait? Yeah. I got waiting here, that's 2, that's 3, 4, and caught up at the end. How long did it take to get through 10 passengers with this new design system based on the probabilities that were given to us as the time it would take at each station? That's right, 9 minutes and 20 seconds. All right. This one's a little harder because of the logic of the time, but it works great. I've used these. I even have one on here somewhere, but I'm going to look for that. Explanation, blah, blah, blah. Here's our favorite slide. Whoops, I lost it. Any questions? Did I pass stuff back? I didn't, so let me just take attendance real quick. Here you go.